Allan. Thanks you for being here in Unilatina Radio under the Hammer Heavy Metal Show. This is the first question. In your early years, how was your first contact with metal and rock music?
My first experiences with rock music, wow, that takes me back to the 70s. When I first got into high school, that's when, your high school years is when you really get into music. And for me, it was Alice Cooper, Kiss, Aerosmith, Angel, Stars, man, the list is endless. We just consumed rock music like crazy. Anything that new that came along, we were on it. And then, that led into the 80s with the new wave of British heavy metal. I had been a Sabbath fan from the 70s, but I kind of lost. They got into some weird albums, and they kind of lost me. And then once I heard Heaven and Hell, that was it. I was like a crazy Sabbath fan again. And of course, when Unleashed in the East came out by Judas Priest, and Hellbent for Leather, and albums like that. I mean, it just, early Scorpions, and the first Def Leppard album, AC/DC Back in Black, those are like the best. And that's pretty much how we really got into all that stuff, and we were fans. We were fans ourselves. As soon as something came out, we ran down to the record stores as fast as we could, and we bought it the day that it came out.
How you were contacted for joining the new band Exciter?
Dan and I were in a band together, and we were still teenagers, and that band broke up, and some people have different versions of this story, but this is the way I remember it. We had a newspaper, a local newspaper called the Ottawa Citizen, and we used to always go into the music section of the classified ads, and people wanting musicians, and musicians selling gear and stuff like that. And I just, when our band broke up, I looked in the want ads, and John Ricci had placed an ad wanting a bass player and a drummer. So I called him up, and we arranged for a tryout, and I went down, and the drummer that was supposed to be there didn't show up. So I said, well, the drummer from my old band, Dan Beeler's available. He can be here like tonight if you want. Dan brought his drums right away down, and that was it. Exciter was born right there.
How were the beginnings of the metal scene in Canada? Which contemporary band existed at this time in Canada?
The early Canadian metal scene was, I'd like to say just us, because I can't think of another band around at the time that was as heavy as us. The other bands that were around, to me, were a little bit more lighter, like heavy rock, but not really, to me, heavy metal. So I'd like to think that we are one of the pioneers of the heavy metal movement in Canada.
What do you think were the highlights moments of the band?
I had to look back and select some highlights. Oh, this could take forever. There's a few that, of course, stand out as being the definite highlights and most important periods of time of Exciter, where we got to play with our heroes, like Motorhead. We did several tours with Motorhead. They were fantastic. They treated us great. We partied with them. Partying with Lemmy is quite the experience. And, touring with Accept. We toured with Motley Crue. Our first big concert that we did was opening up for Black Sabbath and meeting them, Ronnie James Dio, and it was insane. That was like our first big show. And of course, touring the world and and doing albums in London, England, and the list goes on and on. It's endless. But right now we're creating new highlights, and this tour that we're doing of Europe this week has been amazing. It's been incredible. We just went through Sweden. We're now in Norway. I'm sitting backstage and I'm drinking some wine, and we're just having the time of our lives, and it's going to continue. Next week in Colombia we're really looking forward to that. We've never been in Colombia before. We've always wanted to go. I think it's going to be really amazing.
After so many years of Live Exciter, how was the experience of meet again with the original band members?
The Exciter reunion was something that it happened at the right time. It just so happened that the version of Exciter that John had been playing with for quite a few years, that band broke up, and it gave us an opportunity to approach John to do the reunion. At first he was a little hesitant because he wanted to take some time off of music, and but I think he had to realize that everything was time sensitive, and that if he didn't do it like right away, this opportunity might not come around anytime soon again. So we did it, and we did it for 4 years until John wanted to have that break and from music again, and that's what happened. And there was no question in my mind about the fact that I wanted to move on, continue on, and I said that to Dan, and he was like, he was blown away. Like he wanted to move on too. So the time is right for the next level of Exciter, the next version. We're creating new moments, new history, and it's going to be great.
What are your expectations about this new lineup without John Ritchie? How do you meet the new guitarist member?
Well, our expectations of this new Exciter are to have a lot of fun, and we've been doing just that. We've been having a great time. We've been playing very awesome shows in the U.S., Sweden, and now Norway. Back in Canada, and we've done shows there, and the response with this new version of Exciter has been totally 100% positive in every way, and people can tell that we've brought it to another level, and we're having fun, and it's showing that we're having fun, and and that's going to reflect in the music. It's going to reflect in I'm sure it'll help in our writing. Our album is like 97% complete, done. There's just some holes to fill in different songs. Dan and I have been writing the entire thing up until now, and all we got to do is fill in the gaps, and then we are ready to go into the studio. And we're really looking forward to that, because we're really stoked about all the songs. I think if we love them, I think the fans are going to love them too. So that's next on the list.
How do you feel about your first time in Colombia? What do you think, or what do you know about Colombian headbangers?
Coming to Colombia, it has been long overdue for Exciter. We have had so many offers over the years, and for whatever reason, it didn't come about. There was a lot of shows that didn't happen for certain reasons, and now that we're free to do as many shows as we want, and in any place we want to go to, we are now bringing Exciter to places never before seen by us, and the fans have never seen us. So it's going to be amazing going to Colombia. We are really stoked about it. We've heard that the Colombian headbangers are they're pretty wild, and so we're looking forward to doing a couple of really incredible shows there. And it's coming up soon. It's only a week away, I believe. I'm really messed up because of the time difference. I'm in Europe, but I live in Canada, and the time difference and the jet lag and the traveling and the playing heavy metal music and partying and just getting sleep whenever we can. We are still energized and ready to go to Colombia, and we're looking forward to it. We'll see you there.
Got to make you turn.